Alright, so today is day 3 in the 31-day process of individuation for October. And yesterday I was really happy with how the video came out because I talked in depth about a lot of very necessary logistics and details in regards to individuation. For those that are still confused regarding what individuation is, first and foremost, it is the ridding oneself, right? Like letting go of for oneself of all of everything that is not of the self, that came from other people, that came from parents, that came from other family members, friends, all that stuff, societal factors, all that kind of stuff. And what I thought was so interesting was that in and of itself, talking about that, led me to understand even more about this process. But it's not just about letting go of, it's also about, like, once you let go of, it's kind of like this, right? So when the shedding process happens for a creature, right? Shedding skin, there are things underneath the skin that is shed, that is realized. It's like, oh wow, right? Like all these things that may have been kind of like coursed over by noise, by opinions, by layers of shit, right? And first, what has to happen is the letting go of. But the letting go of is only going to happen when it is made aware of, right? So I actually my partner and I went on a walk yesterday. Was it? I think it was yesterday. But basically, I explained to her everything that I'm doing here, and I explained the letting go of. I explained the becoming, gaining a clearer sense of self. Right. That's really what this is all about, and I think that that's so interesting. And so there are so many things here that I'm like looking at for myself. Like this morning, actually, right? I was driving in the car to go to the gym with my partner, and I was talking about something, and I realized something. I realized that I was coming from a place of complaining, right? Now, I'm somebody who recognizes my capacity for control in my own life. When I say control, I mean what it is that I'm in control of. And I'm in control of far more things than I am out of control of, right? And those things that I am in control of dictate my happiness to a much larger extent than anything else does. And so when I find myself complaining about things, I look at it and it's like, I stop that. Now, here's the thing. I'm at a point in my life where I'm growing and evolving and awakening and healing. And I'm doing this so much so to the extent that I'm actually looking at it to the extent of like, it's okay, okay, I've had these thoughts and beliefs and feelings and behaviors, right? I'm going to let go of that stuff. It is of the past. It is unnecessary. It's only a limitation. It's going to hold me back. Now, what do I want to fire and wire in consciously, right? That's what I'm looking at now. So, like this morning when it came to the complaining, I stopped myself and I was like, no, I do not want to fire and wire that anymore. So, this is also a matter of individuation, right? Because complaining could be something that came from somebody who's been close to me for a long time, like a family member or a parent, right? I'm not saying that that is the case. I'm just saying that's an example, right? And so I look at that and it's like, okay, well, is this necessary? Is it useful? Is it helpful? Is it going to bring me a life of fulfillment, a life of meaning? See, what's necessary in this process of individuation is recognizing not only what it is that you're letting go of, but also what it is that you want moving forward for yourself. You know, individuation is very much a process of, okay, this is the way that things have been. This is the way that this is the way that I want things to be moving forward. Where did all of these things come from? And then you can identify them, like, oh wow, like once you really sit down and like do the introspection and everything, and like, like really look within, look at the inner universe and everything. You'll be like, okay, that came from my parents, that came from sibs. When I say sibs, I mean siblings. That came from friends. Oh wow, that came from a teacher. That really fucked me up. Let's let go of that belief system because that's an outdated belief system back from when that person was a kid and that person was conditioned by that belief system, and they just decided I need to slow down. They just decided to project it onto me, right? when you don't question these things and potentially where they came from, they will rule your life and they will ruin your life if they're that bad enough, right? Um, so yeah, basically like what I'm looking at here, and I'm really happy that I kind of like caught on to the whole complaining thing because like there have been times where I have found myself like consumed by complaining, right? And then like coming out of it, like I was like, what the fuck was that? Like, whoa. And then it kind of like I look at it again, it's like I don't want that anymore. I don't want that. I don't need it. If I don't need it, you need to breathe to live. If you don't need it as you do to breathe, I would question whether it's necessary to have it in your life or not. And if you're complaining because it's something that you're used to, which, by the way, a great portion of these things that are discovered in this process of individuation will be things that a person is used to, because let's just look at it this way, right? If you were taught to complain growing up for whatever reason, right? At a vulnerable point in your life when you're a kid, you are a sponge soaking up everything. You're not second guess. You don't have the awareness to be like, oh wait, yeah, no, that's your shit, not mine. You don't have that awareness. You don't. You don't. Your self is still forming. You're not conscious enough to make the decision to be like, nah, never mind. That's your shit, not mine. So instead, what you're doing is you're just taking everything on. You're just accepting it all, and that's how it's kind of like forming you. But like when you look at it and be like, complaining. Do I want to complain? Do I actually want to complain? I have so much control over my happiness. Why should I complain? This life is a fucking gift. I'm grateful to be here. What do I have to complain about? And this is not a matter of like, like a parent like coming to you and listening to your shit and being like, "What the fuck are you complaining for? Stop!" Like no, like it's not about that. It's about you. Like if complaining's your shit, whatever you want. This is about the individual. This is about letting go of. This is about ridding of all of the falsities, all of the masks that are not of the self. But let me say right now real quick, because this is important to understand. Even if it's negative, even if you don't like it, if it's something that you've been doing for a long time and you let go of, you're going to have a response. You're going to have a neurochemical response that's like, no, I miss the complaining. And you're going to look at it and you're going to be like, wow, I can't believe I was addicted to complaining. I actually formed an entire sense of self around that. That's fucking ridiculous. And to be completely honest with you, I look at that and I'm like, yeah, that is fucking ridiculous. It's gross. Like, it's crazy that we can actually be addicted to things that we don't like. Think about that. So, when it comes to individuation, like for this matter, one of the biggest reasons why I chose this around October and, like this time of Halloween is because, like, look at what the trees are about to be doing. And not to say that it's that easy for a human being to do that, because it's not. Because, again, we have found comfort. We have a mind that creates comfort around specific things with an identity, and it stays stuck to that. And ridding that, again, is like, it can be depressing. Like, it can actually, depending on what your mental and emotional state is, it can be depressing. I'm not going to sit here and lie and say that it's not. And I'm not going to sit here and lie and say that the overall process of letting go is easy like a tree would just, it's not. It's not at all. So, this is a real matter of introspection. This is not easy work. Let me make this very clear right now. This is not easy work at all. This is really sitting with oneself. And, like, there's going to be challenges here. Like, I would actually recommend, whenever you find someone trying to come at you in this time, and, like, giving you their shit, just try. You don't have to say that's your shit. You can just say, hey, listen, that's your stuff. I'm not taking it on. Right? And it might be opinions, it might be pressures, it might be, it's all projections, bottom line. But, just getting a clearer sense of, like, what it is and everything. And it's not about them, it's about you. So it's less about what they have to say about it and more about how you feel about it, how it impacts you, how it affects your life. I would argue that we are in an era of sensitization, even though there's a lot of things out there that are profoundly desensitizing people on a daily basis. But I would argue that we are in an era of, or I should say resensitization. When I say that, I'm looking specifically at the process of healing, right? Um, we're kind of coming from an era of numbing, right? Because it was the easy thing to do. And this is actually, let's look at this for a second. This is actually why systems are collapsing, right? And when I say systems, I mean so many different things: relationships, just systems in general. Um, we didn't take the time to look at things. One of the reasons specifically was because pain. We're not resilient when it comes to pain. Collectively, we are not resilient when it comes to pain, which is why everything that's happened has happened the way that it has. But of course, collectively comes from individually, and this is why we're here on this process of individuation. So, um, you know, looking at these systems collapsing, it's very interesting because they didn't allow themselves to feel the pain. What did they do? They drowned it out with substances or media, whatever it was, right? So this is why all of these different things have occurred the way that they have, right? This is why we're looking at things from the standpoint of, okay, you know, friendships are dying out, relationships are dying out. Well, yeah, because these people are realizing that they formed these relationships around nothing, right? Or around low energy bullshit, right? And there was nothing else there. And that's okay. It's okay that it happened and it's okay that it's ending. What matters is that authenticity. What matters is that, you know, things that are genuine are being created and sustained. That's what matters. Not that things that shouldn't survive are surviving. That's toxic because that only creates, you know, a foundation for pain and, you know, negativity and toxicity. That's all. That's all there is there. So it's really important that that these things are dying out now because a new world is being created as we speak. And healing is the foundation for that. But healing only comes when we see things for what they are and where they came from, and we come back to wholeness with ourselves, which is individuation. So, yeah, it's really a matter of recognizing what it was that somebody grew up with, right? And understanding where those things came from. Like for this matter, it's really about like, you know, thought processes, belief systems, feeling states and everything. Get this. I think this is very interesting. Um so when you look at things like depression or when you look at things like I don't know. I would argue just like mental illness in general, right? Um, it's interesting how when a program is sustained when it's not challenged, because that's just what's going to happen, right? You go to sleep with the same thoughts, beliefs, feelings, and behaviors. You're going to wake up with the same thoughts, beliefs, feelings, and behaviors. That's just the way that it is. Whenever that is not challenged, whenever that is not challenged, it persists. It's going to remain the same. It's not going to change if it's not challenged. It's not going to change if it doesn't change. It's that simple. So, um, because of how comfort works and because of how people, even if they're not happy with it, they stay inside of it because of comfort, they're going to continue living the same way. So now we're in an era of, okay, listen, I've downed enough substances, I've numbed myself enough, I've distracted myself, I've avoided this for too long, and I just can't do it anymore because it's literally staring me in the fucking face. I need to do something about it. Okay, so what's the solution? The solution is to go within, feel the fucking pain, feel everything, rid yourself of all the bullshit that is not you, get a clear understanding for what and who you want to be moving forward, and just be on the process of that. And again, I'm going to dive into the aspect of this whole bullshit thing of becoming, right? Well, I'm not going to say bullshit of becoming. Here's what I'm looking at. I'm going to repeat this again because I know that I think I said it yesterday. But there are plenty of people out there that are going to sell you based on your lack. Your lack is coming from the low self-esteem that you were instilled with growing up. Your lack is coming from the unworthiness that you were led to believe you were because somebody abandoned you or somebody didn't show up for you when they said they would. So therefore, you were conditioned into beliefs that you lack something, that you